Okay, so now that I have my whole graphic organizer filled out for my expository essay, I am going to start to write my introduction. So I have up here, remember on our graphic organizer that our graphic organizer is only for brainstorming, and it's only for putting things like bullet points and just any kind of messy idea that you might have for your writing. So up here I have my hook, because if I check back on my expository writing checklist, in my introduction I need a lead. So I'll need a lead or a hook. So I chose from all of these different leads or hooks. I also need to state my claim. Okay, so in your introduction, these are really the only two things that you need. And so I figured that I would go with a setting hook. So our prompt was write about someone that's important to you and explain why they're important. So I chose to write about my sister for this particular essay. And my hook, I started talking about setting. So I said, it was a hot summer day and my sister and I were sitting on the sand at our favorite vacation spot, Orange Beach. I love you, Megan, she said as she looked at me and smiled. So I actually also went with dialogue. So I have dialogue and setting in this one. Okay, so I just did a bullet point with my lead or my hook. And then down here, my second bullet point, I didn't write my entire paragraph. On my second bullet point, I just said mention 2 reasons, and my 2 reasons that I was going to mention are that she's dependable and she's trustworthy. And so this can also be considered an anecdote or a setting. It kind of touches on a story that my sister and I were sitting on the beach and she just looked at me and said, I love you. And so I kind of hit a few different things in my introduction. So I chose that as my hook, and then I also want to remind myself that I'm going to mention my 2 reasons, which are dependable and trustworthy. And so let's go ahead and go over to our tablet, and I'm going to leave my brainstorming for my graphic organizer right here to kind of help me as I'm writing it. So I've already written my prompt, which is write about someone that's important to you and explain why they're important. And so on my essay, I'm turning my bullet points into sentences. So at the beginning, I don't really go with the 1-inch indentation rule. I just want to indent just a little bit. And honestly, that's kind of not even all that important. You just need to make sure that your paper is organized. So the first sentence is going to be my hook. So it was a summer day and my sister and me were sitting on the beach at our favorite vacation spot, Orange Beach. I love you, Megan, she said as she looked at me and smiled. Okay, so now before I move on, I want to look at my graphic organizer again. oh, I'm sorry, not my graphic organizer. I want to look at my mentor text. And in my mentor text, it says Martin Luther King Jr. was brave and determined. That's why I admire him. If I had the chance to meet anyone in the world, I would meet him. Obviously, this essay had a different prompt than ours, but it's good to look at another person's introduction and make sure that we're kind of on the right track. So I've set a hook. Okay, so according to my checklist and my mentor text, now I need to state my claim. So I'm going to state my claim. And I'm going to restate the prompt. My sister is important to me because she is trustworthy and dependable. Okay. All right. So now I want to go through. So now once my reader starts reading my essay, my reader now knows exactly who I'm writing about, what I'm writing about, and what that looks like for the rest of my essay. So I've stated my 2 reasons. I've made my claim. I've stated my hook. Now really quickly before I move on, I want to go back and revise and edit. So it was a summer day. Well, that's really boring. What kind of summer day was it? I'm going to say hot and humid. Those are some good words to add to it. A hot and humid summer day, and my sister and I were sitting on the beach. Oh, that's not how you spell beach. So it's good to go back and make sure that all of your spelling is correct whenever you're going through and revising and editing. I also forgot a letter in favorite. And then Orange Beach. Think about our common nouns versus proper nouns rules, capitalization rules. Orange Beach is a place, so B is capitalized. Whereas if it just said the beach, this B is not capitalized. This B is. I love you, Megan, as she looked at me and smiled. Or she said as she looked at me and smiled. So this is actually her talking. So I'm going to have quotation marks and then I love you. That's an independent clause. I love you, Megan, comma, she said, comma, as she looked at me and smiled. My sister is important to me because she is trustworthy and dependable. So that is actually, I want to kind of reword that. So I'm going to say, and this is part of your revising and editing. So I'm going to say, my sister is, then I want to say, my sister is trustworthy and dependable. And then in front of important, I want to change it to, my sister is trustworthy and dependable. And then I'm going to say, that is why she is one of the most important people in my life. Okay, so my introduction, I have a hook or a lead. I have stated my claim. My sister is trustworthy and dependable. Perfect. And then I've said that is why she's one of the most important people in my life. Okay? So now my reader has a hook, so they want to read the rest of my essay. My reader has said or read my claim. My sister is trustworthy and dependable, and now I'm going to spend the next 3 paragraphs convincing them that she's trustworthy and dependable. And they also know what my prompt is. That's why she's one of the most important people in my life. Not only do they know what my prompt is, but they know that I understand what my prompt is. Okay, so that is how you write an introduction for an expository essay.